Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Freedom Thinking Community Group. The date is Monday, the 31st of March. Thank you all for being here. And if you're watching this in catch up, thank you so much for supporting us, following us, and watching us, and whatever you're doing. Welcome back, Div. Yeah, a few things before we start. This is a via donation community group. This is available to anybody. We do this so it's available to anybody. We record them so people can click on them at later dates, can watch them. If it just so happens you can't be here on a Monday night, then they are available for you to watch. But if you can be here, it's wonderful. It makes it so much richer for everybody on the screen, and for Jenny and I to have people on the screen to talk to. I'm probably, unless I know the people from now on, I'm not going to let any more people in. Just because we get Zoom bombed every now and again. I don't know why people would even bother Zoom bombing this little community group, but for some reason people think it's important. So yeah, it'll be kept to this number of people now. Yeah, so this is a via donation event. If people want to make a donation, if people are finding benefit in this, if you are, if this is helping you in your life and it's valuable, or you're listening in and you're finding it useful, perhaps, like I say, perhaps we might be saving you a few quid on seeing a psychiatrist. So I don't think that's too cheap nowadays. Please consider making a donation. Donations can be made to, if you look in the description below, there'll be details via PayPal at info@freedomthinking.co.uk. We've got Buy Me a Coffee, which isn't Colin's preferred method of donation. And in all fairness, PayPal's great for us because we don't get charges. We don't get any money deducted. I mean, it's not a vast amount, but
you do get charged on PayPal.
Yeah.
They're not the same.
Yeah, if you can do it by friends and family, you don't.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Friends and family, if you could, that would be great. Thank you, everyone. And if you wish to get our bank details, if some people are doing little monthly, like standing things for each month, they get our bank details, we pass it on. And if you want our bank details, please get in touch at info@freedomthinking.co.uk. Our website is freedomthinking.co.uk. We work with people personally. We do one-to-one work. We've just had a lady leave now last couple of days after spending 4 days with us. It's been wonderful, a wonderful transformation. We are here. If you want to come and work with us, get in touch. Yeah, that's it. Oh, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share, because that helps us out with the algorithms, apparently, according to my mate Colin. So, right, you want to say out?
We've had a question of message to us today about meditation. So I thought we could cover that. But also I want to see if there's any direction that people who are actually on the call today would like to take this in tonight. Any questions, comments, topics that they'd like to speak to. So I'll open up to you guys, and if not, we'll maybe go to that question.
Well done. Oh.
Hi, I want to ask something to you both. Hello. To hear about your friend Dave and Jen. It's very sad news. I'm sorry to hear that. I was on a Freedom Thinking call a few months ago, and I can't make it some Mondays because I work, but I listen a lot to the catch-ups and things like that. And what I mentioned to you before is whenever I listen to you, I feel really calm, present, and feel so much better. And I remember, Jenny, you said that's all coming from you. And I can't see how that's coming from you, because I listen to your stuff and I feel better and things like that. I never get it. I can't see how I'm making that happen. So I don't know if you want to discuss that later on.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Well, it's like not everyone feels calm and peaceful listening to us. we really piss some people off. And they just argue with us. But I think it's more, we wouldn't know experience without the principles in action in any moment. The principles are needed for you to be able to have experience, for any of us to have experience. And I feel like that's what the principles points to. And if Dave and I could create a feeling in people, we would create a beautiful feeling in every single person that we came across, because that's what we love. We love helping people wake up to that beautiful feeling, that feeling of peace. But it isn't our power. I don't have a power to put in a feeling in someone else. I think when we sit down to listen to something, often our attention falls off of our own mind, our own busy thinking mind, and we're listening to something. And it is nice to listen to people trying to point in the direction of truth, of love. And it's just, that's what your mind is listening to. And I think there's something in us that does resonate. That place in us, that place in me, that place in you that is the same, that we're trying with words to point to. It feels it. It feels the truth of it. We know the truth of this. But I know that somebody messaged today who said, you know, they've been around the principles a long time, and they listen and they listen and they listen, and they can't find any relief. And they're trying so hard, and they listen to all kinds of things, but they're not finding that feeling of peace. So it can't come from the principles message. It can't come from a teacher. It has to be the person listening. So even though it looks like it's coming from the community group or the speaker, the only way that would be true is if every single person had the same experience of it. So that's where you see, well, that it doesn't, because some people have argued. We get sometimes negative comments we've had on some of the videos, or argumentative comments. So that person's not been peaceful, they've been argumentative. So I think there's so much evidence for the truth of this, and every other argument falls apart, because there is only one source of experience for any of us. Like I can't interfere with someone's reality. I can drop in ideas, I can say things, I can point, but I can't do it, because the only thing that creates life experience are the principles.
What is it Lee says? My sister says, you can lead a man to wisdom, but you can't make him think.
But it's a similar kind of, I don't know if you want to speak to that as well. I was going to say it's a similar thing with someone said that they kind of got this feeling that from a practitioner of the principles, that meditation has almost been vilified, or feeling like they shouldn't be learning about the principles and meditating. And if people enjoy meditating, meditate. If you have a chaotic mind, but for some reason when you sit down and do a meditation, you get to experience 20 minutes, half an hour of a peaceful mind, and that feels beneficial, then do it. And I just think, but she said it was a crutch. Someone's told her it's a crutch and it's missing the point. And I feel there's so much misunderstanding in the principles community about that kind of thing. I feel like it's a freedom, realizing the freedom of our own mind, realizing the backdrop of experience, and then doing what makes sense to you. But there are no rules with this.
That's why we call it freedom thinking, because there is no rules. I just wanted to speak a little bit to what Meg was saying. You know, it is part of the illusion that, you know, you come here and you feel good because of this call. And it really is. We hope you feel good. We want you to feel good when you come to these things. That's what we want. You know, you don't find beauty and peace in life by studying shit, suffering, horrible things that have taken place in the past. There's no peace found there for numerous reasons. One, because it was a harrowing perspective that we held at any given moment on a subject anyway. So it was hard work the first time. Secondly, because it doesn't exist anymore. So it seems a little bit fruitless, kind of ratcheting through something that doesn't actually exist anymore. What's the point in that? Makes no sense. You know, and thirdly, the idea that you can find you're gonna somehow have a more beautiful life by constantly looking backwards. I don't know. I generally find people don't walk down the street backwards. They walk down the street looking forwards. And the people, you know, we do that for a reason. It stops us falling over all the time. Stops us banging into things, stops us creating chaos. If we could learn to kind of adopt the same kind of technique in life, rather than looking back, just keep looking where you are, be present in the moment. Like lives change. But it doesn't work that you can come here and you can this digital broadcast has the power to make you feel anything. Okay. I've said this millions of times, but there are 8 billion people apparently walking the face of this earth. 8 billion, apparently. I haven't counted them. I don't know how accurate that is. That's what I've been told. I've learned to not kind of trust everything I'm told nowadays and keep a skeptical mind, should I say. But my skeptical mind isn't a closed mind, it's an open mind. My gift of skepticism that I exercise is my gift to think for myself. My gift to think for myself. And I'll be honest, it can be really fruitful sometimes when it comes to my own joy and peace and happiness and interests and intrigue. But these 8 billion people, every single one of them lives in their own unique expression of self-created reality. And when I'm talking about self, I'm not talking about the ego, Dave, the story of Dave, the man, the this. I'm talking about the self that is the energy that animates this body. There is something animating my hands. There's something animating my face. There's something animating my words. There's something that listens. There's something that thinks. There's something that feels. Something that never goes anywhere. Something that was present upon my birth. Something that's been present since and fell in love for the first time, had its heart broken. Had its heart broken, should I say. Or should I say even more accurately, experienced the experience of heartbreak. That experienced prison. That experienced guilt. That experienced what it's like to have problems with drugs and alcohol. That experienced what it's like to awaken to itself. To experience what it's like to go through all these different kinds of experiences. That's the thing that's creating the experience. Not Dave. Dave's a story. Dave's a name for starters. It was just a name. I was nearly called James. So I'm not my name. 45 years old. But I am not how many times I have been around this earth. Been around the sun. That's not how old, that's not me. It's not what I am. And that's just another part of the story. So yeah, there's these 8 billion separate realities, unique expressions of consciousness, unique expressions of reality, each walking on the same planet, but creating its very own experience of being here on planet Earth, having its very own play show up for itself. And it's the only show it can ever know. It can't I can't. I've spent a long time with Jenny now. I've known Jen since 2014. We became friends straight away. And Jen and I still speak to one another a lot because we live in separate realities. We only have language at all because each and every single one of us lives in our own unique expression of reality, and it's so that one reality can converse with the next. That's why we have language. The fact of language proves the point that we live in separate realities. Now, Jen can talk to me and explain all kinds of things to me, but I don't always hear it. I don't always experience it as my reality. In fact, quite recently, we've had conversations where we simply do not align in reality. We just don't align in it. And I'm looking at Jen going, "You're mental." And she's like looking at me going, "No, you're mental." Like, "But you're more mental." She's like, "No, you're more mental. You're a psychopath, Jenny." "No, you're a psychopath." Not quite. You are, though. And we both just get to the conclusion, look, we just do see this very, very differently. Okay, next. So when it comes down to it, there are as many realities on this screen. There are as many realities experienced and being created here on this screen as there are people on this screen. Just for this one call. And then there'll be all the realities of people who are watching this in catch up, how they are experiencing this. Okay, some people will probably have got to this point and gone, right, oh, stuff it. I don't want to watch that. Some people may be listening, desperately trying to fix themselves. Some people may be listening just out of interest. Somebody may be listening just because they've got nothing watch or listen to, clicked on this. Who the hell are these two idiots? I don't know. But I guarantee that no two people will have the same experience. We see it all the time when we do retreats and stuff like that. You see some people have these awakenings and they go, wow. I was saying to the lady who's just been to work with us, she said, does everybody, she was a bit stressed, she was day 3 and she was saying, the penny hasn't dropped. I said, don't worry, it's okay. That's what you just did, relax. She said, how many people have you ever had that who've come and done 4 days with you who haven't had a penny drop moment? I said, 2. I couldn't tell you how many people we've had. I honestly don't know how many people we've had. I said 2. One of them left on day 2. And the other one, God bless him, just couldn't listen. And so I was explaining to you, this isn't going to come from us. It comes from you. My awakening didn't come from anybody other than me. Jen's awakening didn't come from, we call it an awakening. The reason why I call it an awakening was because it was literally, for me, it was like awakening from a nightmare, but being wide awake. It was seeing behind the dream, realizing behind the dream, and basically just saying it was all a joke. Effectively, it's a joke. And I know that not everybody gets that. I used to think that when I first came across this, I thought everybody had that experience. And quite often I believe that people who've been around it must have seen deeper than me. So I started to listen to them and I put on my power on them going, you're going to give me something. And you know what happened? My magic died. My magic died. The magic I found died. The moment I went back outside again, this person's going to give me something. So no, when you say you come here and you start to feel nicer, that is coming from you. That's your feeling. That's you creating that experience, which is a wonderful thing because you know you can create it. I don't know much about you, Meg. I don't know your history. But it can be quite you know, when people come to us and they're really struggling and they start to have these lovely feelings, it's nice for them just to realize that, well, you are perfectly capable of feeling those feelings. So clearly you're not broken. You're not damaged goods. It's my little ego would love to be able to claim it. It's all about us. It's all about us, but it's not. It's not about us. It's about you. It just so happens that there's a logic to life and there's an illusion. The logic is that's applicable to all. The non-negotiable. Now, it's not the experience that we're experiencing in any given moment. No, that's an illusion. And the reason why I call that an illusion is because it can change in a moment. You can look at any subject and you can perceive it from an infinite amount of perspectives. People do. Take football. Liverpool, Arsenal. 45,000 people. Liverpool, 45,000 people, Arsenal. Okay, you could say, well, 50% of this football stadium wants Liverpool to win and 50% want Arsenal to win. But within the 45,000 of the Liverpool supporters, no two people are having the same experience. They're not all seeing the same game. Likewise with the Arsenal supporters, so you've got 90,000 different perspectives just simply on a football pitch. It wasn't created outside of them, wasn't the experience, because that's not the way that experience is born. If you look at what experience, where is experience? What is experience? You see, this is the bit, this is where the magic lies, is when we start to look at experience. Not what it's doing. We're mesmerized by that shit. It's a complete and utter distraction. That's what we go and talk to people about. My experience of this, my feelings about that, and blah, blah, blah. My past, blah, blah, blah. But what is experience in the first place? What are its laws? What are its constants? Jen and I have traveled the world to many different places, and everybody we've spoken to is an experiencer. Why? Because they're a conscious living being. If you're conscious and living, you're experiencing reality. Reality and experience are two words to describe the same thing. The only reality I know is the experience I'm experiencing, which is why I have to talk to Jenny to understand her experience of life. I can't ever step outside of my experience. I've had moments where I've left my body and I've actually observed my body from outside of my body. Did my experience leave me? No. I am the fact of experience. So it doesn't matter what I'm experiencing. If I'm experiencing grief, tragedy, loss, which I've experienced this week, it's been horrific sometimes. But then there's been utter gratitude as well for the same thing. One of my dear friends decided he'd had enough. And he left. His choice. And I was speaking to one of my dear friends about it, and she just said, it's interesting, isn't it? The gratitude you get to experience as well. I said, yeah, that blows my mind. The gratitude and love that suddenly emerges and how special people become when somebody decides they're going to do that. Like, you just suddenly you realize the love around you. I know one of the first things you did was you picked up your phone and you texted people you hadn't spoken to in ages. you were filled with that gratitude and love for those people, and you wanted to reach out, and the love that comes from as a possibility through death. Like, it's not all black and white, or black or white, should I say. I also have spoken to other people who are close to him, and some of them are having some really hard time. And there's no right or wrong. There's no way to grieve. There's no wrong way to grieve. But even then, our experience of life comes from us. And the way that our life is flavored is by the way we believe our life, way we believe life to be. It's interesting. Some of the people I see struggle the most are those hard-lined analytical people who have severed their thought process system away from spiritual and adopted the notion that it's all just random and chance, and there is no God in the conversation. It's interesting. I've been that man, actually. I didn't have a great time of it through that belief. But then all of a sudden I can have a whole new perspective on it. How fixed was my reality? How solid was my experience? That's one of the things I really hope people get to see, is that their reality, we're fluid, we're more akin to water than stone. We're fluid beings, we chop and change through our experience continuously. But we see what we believe. That's why Jesus said, it's done unto you as you believe. In the book of Thomas, Gospel of Thomas. It's done unto you as you believe. Why Sid Banks comes along and goes, do you know what the missing link is? It's thought. Not what you think, but the power of thought. Infinite force that steers you through life. That creates all your experience, flavors your experience. Like an image being shown on a television screen. The television screen can house any image. It doesn't judge. It doesn't go, I can't show that image. It shows the image. It shows the experience. You see, it's all experience. The whole game of life is experience. As Sid said, it's a psychological experience. Life is a psychological experience. It's creation of mind. But it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like it is. It looks like it's something that's it's something we don't really consider. What is life? But to me, that has to be the number one question for mankind. What is life? If it's all random, how do we have such infinite experience? If it's all random, where's all the things randomly evolving themselves out of existence? If it's all random, why does it all work so beautifully, so coherently? Makes no sense. Doesn't stand up to scrutiny. It's not random, it's beautifully orchestrated. As the mind thinks, as the mind believes, so it experiences. If somebody believes that they are broken, they're going to totally appear broken. And they'll keep on getting reinforced proof because of how they feel. But it's not that they're broken, it's just that they believe they're broken. The thing about a belief is it's a thought. That's how solid it ever was.
It's interesting. On Friday, I'd had something on my mind all week. It felt quite real, and I'd had a few text message back and forth with someone, and it's funny, I hadn't really noticed the feeling, and the feeling generally would wake me up, but I'd got quite lost in it. And then we got the news about our friend, and you went to sit out in your stone circle, and I was sort of sat there going, oh, well, if he'd wanted me to go with him, he probably would have asked, but it feels like I should go out and see him. So it's about 8:30, 9 o'clock at
Pitch
night,
black, wasn't it?
starting to rain. So I put on my jacket and started walking down, and I felt really emotional. And then suddenly, all the stuff that'd been on my mind all week, it was like I got a face full of it, and then it just vanished. And I just thought, none of that matters. And I got filled with so much love for this other person, and I could see how I'd been caught up in the details and almost wanting to be right about something. And it's just like it vanished. And I thought, how real was it that it could vanish in a moment? And it was weird because it was that moment I came and sat. I mean, you jumped out of your skin. You hadn't heard.
I shot myself. I
Yeah,
stood in this stone circle in the pitch black, and all of a sudden, I was doing some prayers, wasn't I? And all of a sudden, this person stood in front of me. I shat myself. I think I screamed like a little girl, didn't I?
Did. But it was that recognition then of the stories that we tell ourselves and how lost we get. But when one of them, any of them, claps, you're back in that feeling of love again. And it completely changed my communication. I actually waited till yesterday, and then I communicated in a completely different way. The whole situation's resolved.
Mm.
But it was seeing how it doesn't matter how long I've been around the principles. It doesn't matter what I think I've seen or what's dropped. Or sometimes I get caught up in an experience, and it feels like it's important, and it feels like there's a righteousness in it. And then when it gets to claps again, I'm so grateful for the experience, because I see, like with our friend, we've tried really hard to help over the years, and there's been so much incredible insight, and like blown my mind at times, some of the insights this person has had. But then there's something that felt so real to them that it's gripped them on and off over the years, and I get so much compassion every time I wake up. I get so much gratitude and so much compassion for people, because we suffer as human beings. We suffer our own mind, and we get lost. And I'm so grateful how often I get to wake up again, because I do get lost in creations and mini dramas, and
me too.
But the gratitude in waking up again, and the gratitude for life, and then the deep compassion for people that get so lost that they feel like their only option is to leave. Like,
but in all honesty, carry on. Sorry.
That's right.
Sorry.
But it's been nice to see that I don't know what was best for their life.
No.
There's no judgment. There's no anything for it. There was just a deep sadness.
Mm.
And I think I've often said this, like, it's fascinating watching Dave go through experience, because you just broke down and felt so deeply, and I could feel it from you, that raw emotion. And then you sort of shifted into a different place, and it was witnessing someone totally present with grief and its moments, and then finding other feelings bubbling to the surface of love and gratitude and service. And And I noticed in myself that we were with Dave's mum and dad. So I held it together. I wasn't going to break down. I wasn't going to get emotional. I held it together. And then I thought, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold it together much longer. I need to get outside and get away from people. And I didn't mind sort of being vulnerable in front of you, but I just thought it's so interesting. That's something for me that's still there, is like I'm appropriate, or I'm going to hold it together, or I'm going to something around people. And I think that's why I've loved watching you, because you are just what you are in the moment, without any kind of idea that you should be something different.
Why do we call it vulnerable?
Don't know. But it feels vulnerable, doesn't it? To be exposed in front of people.
I don't feel vulnerable.
That's the point of my story.
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't occur to you. You're just,
I don't like that word.
oh, I like it. Like when we were we were in the halfway through an intensive, and we took people to see Dave's special, beautiful, amazing, resilient larch. This tree that he's written a chapter about, this tree that's meant so much to you. And we'd been telling this family all about it, and then on the way there we saw these signs about
Phytophthora.
yeah, some kind of,
Well, it's a disease that trees get.
so we started thinking, oh, I hope it's all right. And then we get there, and you sort of walk ahead, and you just come back and say, it's gone. It's gone. They've taken it out. And in front of this family, you broke down and cried and said a few choice words at different points. And they got to see you go through that into calm again. And it's like in real time, seeing the nature of the mind, the nature of being here and being human, without any filter or any ideas of it needing to be different than it was. And it was another moment where I acknowledged, wow, I probably would have tried to come across as something in front of the clients. I wouldn't have wanted them to see me get upset or angry, and it was just a noticing. And it wasn't that I was wrong, but it was just a noticing of the freedom. And I remember speaking to our friend Dr. Dickon Bettinger about it when he came and did the workshop with us last year. And he just smiled and he just said, that's mental health right there. Like, that's just mental health. And I think we have this idea of mental health looking like always being in this beautiful, expanded, open mind, peaceful,
Happy.
enlightened. We've got this idea of what it means to have understood, to be healthy, to be here, as if it's certain frequency of feelings is allowed and some aren't. But it was so kind of, I appreciate being around the honesty and the presentness of you in those times in life.
Well, I remember standing on stage with, he's fairly well known. Listen, he was brought up with Sid, and I remember him saying, somebody asked a question about how do you get out of these horrible feelings? How do you escape these horrible feelings? And he gave this very in-depth conversation about how when you realize this, when you realize that, and then sat back down almost like the job's done. I said, no, do you mind if I say something? And I spoke to this lady. I said, I still feel all those feelings. I said, but what I've learned is that I don't need to be afraid to feel. I'm not afraid of my experience anymore. I'm not afraid to feel. There's no wrong feelings. I was with the lady who came, just spent 4 days with us, and I said, look out that window. What do you see? She said, trees. I said, tell me, where's the wrong tree? She to me went, there isn't a wrong tree. So look out that window. There isn't a wrong tree. No. Nature doesn't make anything wrong. Makes different. Mankind did not make mankind. We're not one of our great inventions. We are as much an aspect of nature as the tree, as the sun, as the moon. As the oceans, as the fish, as the insects. Whatever dreamt up all that life, dreamt us up. It doesn't matter if some people believe we were spliced with aliens and all kinds of things. It doesn't matter. They're nature too. It's all nature. Whatever the intelligence behind nature is, Sid called it mind, religion calls it God, science calls it the quantum field. Who cares? Whatever created everything created human beings with the capacity to feel all these feelings. Do you think it made a mistake? It can make a sun. It made our bodies. It can make an entire biome of the earth, or every single individualized plant, animal, fungus, bacteria, whatever. It made it all so it works together in harmony and co-facilitate creating a fucking amazing planet. Do you think it fucked up when it gave us the capacity to feel certain feelings? No, it didn't. Did it take its eye off the ball when it allowed us to experience any experience whatsoever? No, it didn't. We have a gift. As human beings, we have a gift. We have the gift to create any experience we so wish. We even have the capacity, we even have the power to create the experience that we're powerless, that we're not creating the experience. That is a possibility within the infinite that we are. And that is where many people find themselves. It's a commonly held belief. But it's because since birth we've been pointing outside, we've had outside pointed to us, pointed out. Look outside. Look outside. It was never real. It was never true. But it's done unto you as you believe. If you believe that people have the power to make you feel, you're going to experience it. You're going to feel like a victim of the world. You're going to surround yourself. I can't go near those people. I can't go near those people. I can't go near that experience. I can't do that. You're going to create this very limited kind of prison. But when people wake up and they go, as the mystics have pointed to throughout time, and they go back inside and they discover themselves, oh shit, I am that creates experience. How can I be anything else? Suddenly those prison walls fall down and they're free to feel. They're free to think. They're free. Full stop. Period, Dan. T'other Dan, not real Dan. False Dan. They're free. A man once came to work with us and he said, I want the freedom you have, Dave. I went, oh, really? Tell me about it. He went, well, I'd say you're always happy and you love everyone. I
I'm
said,
just going to see if
who
Ishka
is
needs
that?
to. It'll be no, I can't see Ishka, so I just need to see if I need to take over.
Yeah, good point. Thanks. I said, false and false. Excuse me if you can hear all the shouting in the background. The dogs are just fighting. I'm not always happy, I said to him. I don't always love everyone. I said, but yeah, I discovered freedom. I'm free to experience. Don't live in judgment of my experience. I know I'm not broken. I know I'm not mentally ill. I know I'm whole. Look at experience. Not what you experience, but the fact of experience. You'll realize it was present throughout all your life. It's actually present before you were born, and it will continue to be afterwards when you leave, when you go to where my friend goes. It actually isn't anything that's kind of, you don't go anywhere, should I say. Experience doesn't move. It's always here and now. It doesn't exist in time. Time exists in experience. It's life. But we always tend to think that death is the opposite of life. No, it's not. It's life on a different plane of reality. It's life on a different form of experience without the physicality of the body. In my experience of that, there's this, it's unspeakable beauty where there is zero suffering. It's still total experience. If I wasn't, I couldn't remember it. I remember it vividly. It's in the answer everybody is looking for is finding the truth of life. Like Jen was talking about with her friend. It's back and forth, trying to find the truth. I'm like, Jen, just point out to this lady that she keeps bringing it back up. Just point out to her there's no truth to be found in her perspective. That's the truth. It appears true to her, but it appears very different to me, and it appears very different to Jenny as well. And what Jen's typing, I'm like, I probably won't say that. But the truth is, there's no truth to be found in any perspective or any flavor of experience. The magic lies in the discovery of that the experience is the fact that there is something that experiences, because once you start to get a grasp of that, you realize it's something that is so untangibly magical. We get to experience life. What is it? What are we that we get to create experience? You know, people can bring things to my table for me to think about, but they cannot determine how I think about it. My friend brought me something he brought something to my table by taking his own life. But he didn't decide what I ate off the table. He didn't choose how I saw it. He couldn't determine how I felt. That circumstance did not determine how I feel. How I feel is a reflection of what's going on for me in my mind. As I was cycling along today, I remember dowsing with him, dowsing for this water pipe for a friend of mine. I said, come on, Ed, need your hand. Came with me, a couple of dowsing rods, and me and him just walked up and down this field for half a morning, putting flags in the ground. It's just a little silly memory like that. And I was just flooded with nostalgia and gratitude and kind of blown away at what happened. Didn't expect to experience that. but I wasn't experiencing it until it came to mind. I wasn't experiencing it before it came to mind, and when it left, it was just now I brought it back to mind. I get to have that experience, but it's a different experience now because I'm talking to you a lot. I'm talking about it, not just riding along thinking about it. I think it was Jesus said in the book of Thomas again, become a passerby. Understand you are seeing each moment for the very first and the very last time in the eternal now. Every single one of us is a creator of reality. That's why people who find themselves in the now discover God. They have a spiritual experience. When people truly align their awareness with the very present moment, they see beauty. They find magic. They notice the magic of life all around them and inside of them. They have the most wonderful feelings. But it won't be permanent. It isn't an anesthetic to life. There is no anesthetic to life. You didn't come here to have an anesthetic to life. You came here to experience. We all came here to experience. We wanted to have the full-on experience. And then we leave. I'm going to come to Dan in a second, the real Dan. But I've said this before in a community group. I was fitting a blind for my dad. My dad fits blinds. They have the little company in Kendal. And he was away on holiday, so I was helping him out whilst he was away. And I met this old lady. And her husband died. She was showing me photographs. She said, yeah, he died in hospital. She said he went in for a routine operation and they botched it. And we just got this phone call saying you have to come to the hospital now. She said 5 people made it there. 5 of us made it there, she said. And she said she went into this room and he was fully conscious. They were packing him full of gauzes and absorbent things to try and absorb the blood. And he knew he was going. She said he was dead calm. She said we weren't. And she said, the last thing he said to me was, she said he went round every single one of us, all 5 of us, and said, so-and-so, so-and-so, I love you. So-and-so, so-and-so, I love you. Every single one of them. So-and-so, so-and-so, I love you. So-and-so, so-and-so, I love you. My wife, I love you. She said, and then he closed his eyes. And he left. Burst into tears. It's one of the most beautiful things I'd ever heard. Horrible and beautiful. And she said to me, don't worry, dear, he's okay. I said, yeah, I know he is. I said, but that's not why I'm crying. She said, why are you crying? And I said to her, I'm guessing that man had many different experiences throughout his life. She said, oh, he did. Oh, yes, he did. He did. I said, and some of those experiences, they must have been so wonderful. She said, oh, yes, yeah. I said, he must have. I said, but what strikes me is he could have spoken about anything just before he left. Could have spoken about anything. but he only wanted to say one thing. I love you. I said, I feel like your husband's given us all a gift. I said, because if that's what it all boils down to in our very end moments, the very last moments of being a human being here on earth, that's what it all boils down to. If you go through all these experiences and then you come to leave, and the last thing you say, the only thing that occurs to you to say as you're about to leave is, I love you. I said, if that's what it boils down to in the very last moments, isn't that what the whole thing is about? I said, I feel like your husband's given us that gift to realize that. It all boils down in the end to love. It's all about. It's why all the wise throughout time have spoken of love. Because it's the most important thing. Why? Because it's who and what we are. It's not part of the illusion. Anybody who has the privilege of leaving the body and going into other dimension and coming back, they all talk of love. It's funny, it's something that there's not much on this earth that like everybody can agree on, but everybody who goes through those experiences agrees. It's love. There is a love behind this life stuff. And that's what we're all seeking. But we're seeking it in life whilst we're here on earth. That's why we're all here on this conversation. That's why I do this conversation. That's why I do this work. Because I get to feel it. It's what motivates us to get up in the morning. We don't see it. We don't know that's what's going on. Every single action we take, it's all about finding peace and love. Oh, what do I want off the menu? What am I most going to enjoy? What am I most going to enjoy today? Thai. I fancy Thai. Thai. Yeah, I get Thai. Enjoy that. I love that. Oh, I want to do this job. Why do you want to do this job? Because I think I'll really enjoy it. It'll be fun. Why do you want to be with that person? I just love being with them. Just really enjoy it. It's all about love. Love is truth. Truth sets you free. God is love. God is not outside of us. We can never discover anything outside of ourselves. Every single discovery we make is a discovery from within. We only know the outside exists because of the experience, but there is no outside. You cannot experience outside of experience. Freedom everybody's looking for, they already are. the things that people are actually afraid of is really their own thought creations, their own thought images, their own thought stories, their own beliefs. It's the only thing you can ever be afraid of. A thought. You can't be afraid of anything other than your own mind. It's impossible. Dan, do you want to speak now, mate?
I'm really sorry I've got a mouthful of chicken.
I waited until you did.
It was just really short and sweet. I was just gonna say, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is to appreciate all experiences. Like regardless of if they're good or if they're bad. I think it's just more of appreciating the fact that you're actually able to feel that way. So whereas like I've been really good for about 3 or 4 weeks, then on Saturday night there's something, just like a little like switch flicked and I felt like shit. But it happened for about half an hour and I was just like, oh God, do you know what? Thank God that I know that I feel like shit. And that was it. Like, and once I put like a bit of an alternative thought on it, it just changed for me. And I think that it's just appreciating the experiences that you're able to experience was what I was trying to say.
Nice, Dan. I'll often say to people who maybe they've got anxiety and depression or something like that, can you see it's a miracle that you get to experience that? Can you see the miracle that we get to experience that? That we condemn is actually a really magical event when you look at it, not from a good, bad, right, wrong thing, but just look at it objectively. The fact of experience, the fact to feel, to think, to create. Is it not a miracle? Oh, come on in, Luce. Come and say good night.
It's everyone.
That was everyone, wasn't it?
Well done.
Is that one for me?
Okay.
Love you, Baba. I'll see you in bed. Good night. Bye. I had 2 brews. It's gone cold now. And Dan, I feel like what you brought up just then, this is part of our mastery as human beings. You know, when you wake up and you realize you are the creator, would it not be wise and logical that the creator awakening suddenly allows itself to experience more of the things it truly loves? Yeah. The thing is, as long as we live in the fully nose to tail with the illusion. Hey, Dan, God bless, man. So, Dan, we'll come on to, I didn't quite get onto your conversation.
No, and we can do that another time, and I may do book an individual session with you too.
Okay, Dan.
Okay, might be good. Anyway, been wonderful to be here. I have to take off now. So
Cool, man. God bless. Thank you so much.
thank you. Thanks.
Take care. I remember what I was going to say. Does anybody else want to say anything?
Are you going to talk about meditation? That question.
Yeah, I can do if you want. Well, I'll give you my perspective on it.
Yeah.
That's all it would be. I'm not saying I'm right, not saying I'm wrong, but this is just my perspective. And no, it's been brought to our attention, like some girl who's been working with some people in the 3 principles, and this girl likes meditating. And the person's saying, well, if you understand the principles, then you really don't need to meditate. Pardon me. I'll be honest, I don't understand the principles. I don't understand mind. I don't understand it. I don't even know what it is. I don't understand consciousness, the emergence of experience. I don't even know what it is. And I don't understand the power of thought, the infinite force of creative potential that lies at the heart of the being. Love. I don't know what that is. I always say I don't know what I'm talking about. And I really don't. But I know that life is not a concept. That life is a truth. It applies to all people on the planet. No matter where I go, no matter what religion, what belief system, whether they meditate or whether they don't, or whether they're religious or whether they're not, they're alive. And it's not a concept. The experiences that we get to experience on an individualized basis, that's conceptual, because that's created by, that's a creation. It's after the fact of being, it's after the fact of mind, it's after the fact of consciousness, it's after the mind, after the fact of thought. These principles precede this very reality. They come before it. And it doesn't matter what reality we're experiencing. The principles come before it. They're fundamental. But that means we are that comes before this experience of life. And so when it comes to life, both Jen and I are in total alignment on this. There is no right or wrong way. I don't know. I remember listening to Sid once say, he said, you have 10 people meditate, 100 people meditating in one room next to us, and you have us talking about truth. He said, I guarantee you who are listening to truth will see more into the nature of life quicker than those who are meditating. That I personally agree with. When we cut through all the crap and we go straight for the jugular, it cuts out a whole plethora of ideas that we need to kind of evolve throughout time to discover that they weren't true. Once we start to align ourselves with truth, it makes life a hell of a lot easier. But does it mean that we shouldn't meditate? If that's what you really enjoy. I am loving at the moment stone circles. I'm being pulled into stone circles now. I'm being drawn into going to work with stone circles, work with the energy flows that flow through them, working with the ley lines. I don't feel like I've consciously chosen it. It feels like I'm being pushed into it. And I'm not fighting it. I'm loving it. I'm loving the miracles that are taking place in my life, the synchronicities that are showing up, as I stand on these sacred sites. Why are they a sacred site? Well, more often than not, I live in the Lake District, and apparently there's more sacred sites in the Lake District than there are in the rest of Europe. Did I know that? No. Did I know there was a stone circle within a 30-second walk of my house where I've lived for 45 years? No, not until latter end of last year. And I discovered it. And I love going into my stone circle. I found the most powerful place, according to my dowsing rods, to sit and pray and to speak and to ask for what I want for my life. It's my life. Why would I not do what I enjoy? If I find something that's working for me, why would I let it go for the idea of, if you understand the principles, you won't do that? No, I don't understand the principles. No, I don't understand the magnitude of who and what we truly are. No, I don't understand what we're capable of. I don't know what the technology of this body is capable of. But I do know for a fact I'm scratching the surface of something so magnificent. And that is what I'm interested in. Some people say, no, you don't ask the universe. If you ask, you're saying you haven't already got it. I asked the universe. Well, I asked a guide, an angel I met when I had my experience. I asked her, I said, Luce, when I'd sent off all my letters to try and get into prisons, because I wanted to work in prisons, nobody was working in prisons at that time in the UK. And I wanted to go and work in prison because I've been to prison. I know there's good people in there who just made mistakes. And I said, Luce, I'd set off all my letters. Nobody's got back to me. I was so disheartened. Luce, send me somebody, please. Future-based, send. Not commanding in the now. Send me somebody, please, to get me working in prisons. 5 or 6 days later, a lady turns up lost at my drive gates. Smartly dressed. I live down a little lane. Call, Kath, you've been, Kendra's been, Ali's been. They know where we live. And there's not many people walk past, and it just so happens I was at the bottom of the drive when she walked past. I said, oh, are you doing it all right? She said, I am, thank you, but I'm a bit lost. I said, oh, where are you trying to get to? She said, the gateway in. I said, oh, I said, you're on the wrong road. I said, I used to work there. Here, jump in my van, I'll give you a lift. And she jumps in. She said, she's driving up the road and she's going, I feel so stupid. I feel so stupid. I can't believe I've done it. She said, I was meant to get off the train in Kendal, but I've stopped on too many stops and I've got off in Staveley. Little voice comes in my head and says, ask her what she does for a living. I said, do you mind me asking you what you do for a living? She said, no. She said, I've just taken a managerial role with a charity that works with the well-being of offenders. I knew it. I knew it, I said. She, what do you mean you knew it? I said, I need to talk to you. Went to the pub, I bought her a drink. After an hour, she said, I want you working with me. I went for an interview, 30 people there, got a job. I got to go into prisons. I got to start sharing the principles. You listen to these manifesting talks, they'll say, that's not how you do it, Dave. Well, is there a way? I think it's what truly aligns with your heart. What truly aligns with your heart is that you're broken. Yeah, you're gonna continue to experience it. Wake up and realize you're not. You never were. Nobody is. It doesn't exist. It showed me that one of numerous things. This life isn't what we think it is. We are so much more than what we think we are. I was sat in my stone circle and I thought to myself, I'd really like to see a stoat. I haven't seen a stoat in ages. Just came to mind. I would really like to see a stoat. Little weaselly thing, about yay big. Little cutest little things on the planet, like sausages with legs and gorgeous little things. Within 30 seconds, out of the 2 standing stones built into a wall, pops a white stoat. Stoat in ermine. I've never seen a white stoat, never seen a stoat in ermine. They turn white in winter. In the hope there's going to be snow. There was no snow. Stood out like a sore thumb. Bright white stoat. Within 30 seconds of thinking it, came and danced along the wall, ran through a gate and disappeared. When I woke up, I was told there are gifts within consciousness and thought that mankind is not consciously evolved enough yet to utilize. But it's coming. My friend who I was speaking to the other day about, a friend who killed himself. She said pretty much what Jen said. She said, was it Heart Math Institute or something? I think it was them, did this study, and they said, they're like, when are people at the most high, powerful frequency? She said, you'd have thought it'd be when they're in love. She said, it's not. What the I think it was Heart Math Institute said was people are at their most powerful when they're authentic. I'm not trying to be a somebody. I'm trying to be well. I'm trying to be spiritual. I'm trying to be perfect. The lady who came to work with us recently, I just said to her, I watched her shift. I watched her shift. Watched the shift take place. Such a privilege. I just said to her, I said, day one, I'm going to talk truth as best I can. If you disagree, if you find an argument at all, I want you to speak up and tell me. And we'll have a conversation about it. And after 4 days, I was all the way, every single day, 2 or 3 times a day, checking, have I spoken an untruth yet? And she would just go, no. Day 2, have I spoken an untruth yet? No. Day 4, have I spoken an untruth? No. And it was through the realization of truth, as opposed to studying untruth, that I watched this beautiful, beautiful girl just drop into peace and feeling good in herself. And I said to her, congratulations, this is us being normal now. That's all you need to be, just normal. Don't need to be special. I said to her, but in a world of people trying to be super duper special and stand out, I said, somebody who's comfortable in their own skin shines like a frigging beacon. A person who can just be themselves. I tell you, it's a damn sight easier just being yourself. That's why it's most powerful. Made total sense when she said that. When we take our imagined achievements off our to-do list, I need to achieve this, I need to achieve that. You find what you're looking for. It was always there. It's who we are. It's life itself. It's life before the desecration of the belief of imperfection. And we're all it. No exceptions. Anybody want to say anything? Any questions, reflections, observations? Carl.
Two things. A quick one. I sorted the Dan thing out. It's American Dan and UK Dan. How's that?
I don't know. That's going to play out with real Dan.
No, did American Dan want to speak about Kiana Studley's work or something?
Yeah, I don't know about it, but he was once
Oh,
so but I'll have a crack with him, find out more about what he was, the line he was wanting to have a look at.
right. Okay, that was it.
I just want a quick one with me, Dave. Just what you were on about with meditation just now. Colin and I, we paid a fortune to train properly transcendental meditation. Colin didn't get much from it. I used to do it and I used to get something from it. And then once I started getting my head around what we're doing, the 3 Ps and everything, this is before we knew you and Jen. Then we started learning a bit from you guys, and I realised then that I don't really meditate much these days, because I find that if you're meditating, you're doing it because you want peace of mind, you want a peaceful mind. So these days, I don't think it matters what you do to achieve the peaceful mind. If you get in a peaceful mind, you get in what you want through meditation. So that's my understanding of it anyway. So these days, rather than meditate, I'll sometimes put some music on and just sit there with my eyes closed, and it really, really quietens my mind. So I'm just totally relaxed, really, really shallow breathing, really, really just emptying my mind, because while you're listening, you're not thinking. So my mind's quiet. But the other thing that I do, and I did it this morning, I know I've mentioned it before to you, but others have probably not to. I like to get up on a morning, put the kettle on before it starts getting light, and I go outside, and we live near quite a lot of trees. So I go into the garden with my cup of coffee, sit there with my eyes closed in the dark, waiting for daybreak, and I just listen to nature. And I just listen to the birds. And this morning, I did it this morning. So this morning, made a cup of coffee, took one up to Colin. You're upstairs in bed. I'm downstairs in the garden, sat in dark with a fleece on top of me, with my coffee, listening to birds. And there were geese flying across, and I could hear a cockerel in the distance. And it was lovely, absolutely lovely. And it just really starts me for the day, quiet, peaceful. And I just get so much from it. And while I'm there just listening, I'm not thinking. That was it, really. It's just my way of, I'm not meditating, I'm still getting my quiet mind. So I don't think it matters how you do it, if that's what you're getting.
Totally, Kath. That's my. There's no rules.
Mm.
It's your life. I'd say this to everybody. It's your life. Do enjoy. Just do more of it.
My neighbours think I'm bonkers. If they know me now, though, they'll say, "Oh, she's off. She's sat there."
I'd join you. I'd be joining.
Yeah.
No, but this is it. You know, you're noticing the everyday beauty in life.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's beauty everywhere. Do we see it? No, we're too busy, preoccupied in our own little heads. Beauty everywhere. I was stood there today looking at the cherry tree in Jen's mum and dad's garden, full of bees. And it was bright white, like snow, covering this, so dense on this tree. Looks like snow all over it, and against the bright blue of the sky and all these bees. The thing that got my attention was the hum as I walked past of all these insects. I'm like, whoa. And Liz shouts down at me, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, that. It's beautiful, isn't it? I'm like,
Yeah.
beautiful. Beautiful. And just to take the time to admire it. And, you know, I like what Sid Banks said. He said, what you're looking for is a meditative state of mind. When people start to see the logic of life or start to realize the illusion of reality, there are fundamental things that can be realized. And these fundamental things reorder the mind. Simple truths, really simple truths. You are not who and what you think you are. You are not a thought. If you are a thought, which thought are you? And if you're that thought, why are you not the other thoughts? So are you any of your thoughts? Or are you that through which thoughts are brought into form? You know, once you start realizing that you're not all your ideas, includes the psychological labels, includes any aspect of ego, that you're not your ideas. When you realize that, it's like, well, I don't need to be anything. I don't need to be anybody. Your mind gets quieter. Why? Because you're not thinking, how do I show up in front of this person? How do I show up in front of that person? How do I show up for this? How do I show up for that? You're just yourself. And that's so much easier. Why? Because, well, it's just being present with what is. And then there's like the illusion of time, another law of truth. Time doesn't exist. We live in a perpetual now, an eternal now. You know, when we start to realize the now and the magnitude of the now, that the only place that reality is born is the now. How do you experience yesterday? In the now, by remembering it. It's a thought. How do you experience tomorrow? In the now, by imagining it. And that's it. Neither of them are actually factually real. You know, and when people realize the now, then again, you know, people spend less time ruminating on the past when they realize the past has no power over them. How can something that doesn't exist have any power over anyone? Same with the future. When people realize there is no power to be held in the future or the past, the power is in the truth of life. It's in the living moment, in the now. Then the mind gets quieter. Why? Because it becomes an illogical thing to constantly jump backwards and forwards in time and try and figure everything out for the future. How's it going to be? How am I going to deal with this? How am I going... Fuck knows. Is it even going to happen? Well, I don't know. You find yourself in the I don't know an awful lot. People are terrified of the I don't know, but the I don't know is the truth of life. I don't know anything. I don't even know what life is. It's a spiritual experience. What the fuck's that? I don't know. It's a divine experience. Well, that's bigger than anything my little intellect can dream up, comprehend, rationalize. I can experience it, but even when you experience it, you can't speak it. You don't know it. You're like, I can't explain that. That blows my mind. But that's life. Life will blow your mind if you realize what it is, or you see it for what it is. But in seeing it for what it is, it'll blow your mind because you can't comprehend it. You can't hold it as a potential, as an idea, as a concept. So we will always be, that's why people who have near-death experiences come back and say, I can't talk about it. I can't tell you. It's real. It's more real than this. But I can't tell you about it. You know, when you wake up and you realize it's more akin, it's a dream, then you stop worrying about what you think. You're not afraid to think. Quietens the mind. Why? Because you're not running around trying to, God bless Ange, love you, love, have a good day tomorrow. You're not running around trying to organize your thoughts and, oh, being afraid of this thought. I had that thought. Oh my God, I've had that thought again. What does that mean about me? Oh my God, I've got to go. I must remember to tell them on Thursday about that thought. Oh my God, and this feeling. Oh my God. Suddenly when you realize you don't actually, what you're actually afraid of when you're afraid of your own thoughts, your own mind, you're afraid of your own mind. Why would you be afraid of yourself? Boom! I can't make myself jump. I can't frighten myself. Not in truth, but we do in our own little thoughts. But that's the only thing we're ever afraid of. Feelings. When we realize that our feelings are a direct correlation to our perspective that we're holding in any given moment. They're the kind of visceral bodily experience of what's going on in our mind. Well, that narrows everything down to the now, so no time involved, nothing to overcome in the past, nothing to deal with in the future, which makes life very simple because all you have to deal with is the now, eternally. You only ever have to get through the now. It's all that exists. And so when we start to realize our feelings are a creation in the now of our perspective that we're holding about any given subject, and it's fluid, it can change in a moment. You realize there's not really anything to be afraid of in feelings. Well, that takes a shitload off our mind. through seeing the logic of life, our mind becomes quieter. And a quiet mind is a present mind. It's simply being here now in life with what is. Even if what I'm feeling isn't particularly nice. Then what? It won't destroy me. Look at us all. We all had well hard parts of our lives. Parts of our lives that we thought we'd never get through. Every single one of us at some point. It doesn't destroy you. We're not all testament to that fact. That in spite of the hardest times of our lives, here we are. And we're all right. What a gift. What a gift to know you can deal with life. You're built to deal with life. Whatever created everything, created us, it can deal with life. It can't be destroyed. It's energy. What is energy? I don't know. Formlessness. Formlessness that creates infinitely. Where do our thoughts come from? From the brain. The brain's finite. Thought isn't. Thought is infinite. Suddenly you don't have to look to your body for your answers. It takes a shitload off your mind. I was diagnosed with chemical imbalances of my brain. Seemed very complicated. I needed medical attention. Took all the pills. Every one they fucking gave me. Woke up. So that my chemicals were a direct reflection of the perspective I was holding in any given moment. I can produce these chemicals in my sleep. Adrenaline, cortisol. Just by dreaming, falling off a cliff. What's my body do? Responds. Does it know I'm safely tucked up in bed? Clearly not. It thinks I'm falling off a cliff. Why? Because the body is responding to mind continuously. Why? Because it's an extension of mind. Mind is not an extension of the body. Narrows it down again, simple, even more simply. As it gets more simple, takes more of our mind. Less to kind of go through, less to troll through. Oh, what about my endocrine system? What about this? What about that? I don't know. Jesus never knew anything about the brain. I'm pretty sure he didn't. Neither did Buddha. Didn't come in here and go, by the way, right, you lot, you've all created these mad-ass pathways within your brains. What we need to do is we need to figure out how to reorder them. Okay, what I propose is electricity. What I propose is lobotomy. What I propose is drilling a hole in your head and letting out the evil entity. It didn't come along like that. He came along and spoke truth, logic. I'm not saying you're going to find it in the New Testament, the bits of it, but there are certain things where you can't, like Book of Thomas. Highly recommend people read it. Look at it, study it. Book of Thomas. He came along and he spoke life. He just spoke life. Where is this kingdom of God, he's asked. Where is God's kingdom? God's kingdom is within the heart of every man, woman, and child. Oh, the creator exists as ourself. We are the creator. Everybody is the creator. Everybody is God. Tell us how our end will be. I take it from the question you found the beginning, that you asked me about the end. Do you know where you came from before you were born? Where were you before you even incarnated as a human being? That you asked me about the end. Blessed is he who takes his place in the beginning, for he'll know the end and not taste death. Know that death is just a transition back home to where we actually emerged from in the first place, like a wave returning back into an ocean, and having never left the ocean. Simplifies life. When you realize that fear is us going further into unreality. When we go into fear, the further we go into suffering, the further into unreality we enter. That's when everybody takes it dead seriously. They take the unreality dead seriously. They take it when we're so lost in the illusion of life. Fear. It's always based in the future. Doesn't exist. Future doesn't exist. Can't be afraid of the past. It's always based in the future. The future doesn't exist. When you realize that, it takes a shitload off your mind. What are you left with? A quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter mind. What's that? It's a present mind. What's that? One that sees beauty, one that can sit outside first thing in the morning with a cup of coffee, not have to do anything special, just sit down with a cup of coffee and admire the majesty and the magnitude of what life truly is, and all the livingness around us. Listening to the birds. Nothing else needed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this moment. Gratitude. Peace. The heart of our being when the illusion starts to quieten down. The truth of who and what we truly are. Beautiful thing is we're all it already. You can't exist and not be it. Love. Made it to the end of this call, this community group. You're watching online, you made it to the end. you're thinking to yourself, how do I do this? How do I do what Dave's talking about? I want you to relax. I want you to take it off your to-do list to do any of it. Please. I really, really ask you to. Please don't try and do any of it. So go to bed, get on with your day, whatever you're doing. I just want you to leave it all alone. I want you to allow your minds to just do what they need to do. There is a force greater than the intellect. It created life itself. It knows everything. It is all things all at once. It's who and what we are. You already hold all the answers to your questions. I just want you just to be open to letting yourself see something different. Just that. Just that. Don't go searching for anything. Because, like I said to this girl who's just been working with us, when she shifted, I said, you know what you found? She went, yeah. I said, I don't see that on the list of things that we wrote down on the board when you arrived. That's what you wanted to find. She said, no. I said, so you would never have known to go that what you found would be the thing that set you free? She said, no. I said, now do you understand why I was saying to you, don't go searching? You don't know what you're looking for. I said, that's where people are at. They're searching. They don't even know where they are. And they're searching for this thing. And they set off on this mad-ass expedition going in search of this thing. What are you searching for? Peace, happiness. Yeah, really? Are you? Or is that a distraction? When I found what I found, that took me from suicidal to utter awe for the majesty of life. I did not know that the thing that I found was the thing that I was looking for. And I can't tell you what it was. But it was beautiful. It was an experience of love beyond anything I can comprehend, and magic. I didn't know that was the thing that I was looking for. It was in suddenly new information being born within myself, from myself, that I didn't already know. That's why you can't think your way there. And this is, Sid Banks spoke an awful lot about insight. Insight, insight, inside, inner vision. Vision from within, a revelation from within, a revelation to reveal that was already there. It must already be there in order to reveal itself. Like uncloaking, Lucia's all over, making little presents at the moment and giving them people to unwrap. She used to love Baby Bells before they started putting like shit in milk nowadays. She used to love Baby Bells because she loved the revelation. She just wanted to upheal them. Oh, it's got a cheese, and she loved the revelation. To reveal. Just relax. Just relax. Stop chasing. Stop chasing. Trust me. Stop trying to fix. You're not broken. You can't fix. You cannot fix it. You cannot fix it. It's impossible. You cannot fix it. Whatever you're trying to fix, you can't fix it. It's not broken. You can't fix what was never broken. It's the illusion of broken. It's the belief in broken. It's a thought. Just trust me on that one. All right. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to call it a night. Unless anybody wants to, does anybody want to say anything? All right. My name's Dave Elleray. I'm one half of Freedom Thinking, the other half's with Lucia in bed. If you found this useful, please consider making a donation. The links are in the description below. All being well, we'll be here next Monday, I think. Should be. If people want adding to our WhatsApp or Telegram groups, please get in contact with us. We put out information on there a lot quicker than we do on Facebook and stuff like that. We don't encourage lots of communication in it at all. Please don't. Please communicate with people individually, directly. And this isn't a place for ping, 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 ping. We like to keep it quiet. Oh, yes. Thanks, Real Dan. Okay. Thanks, Real Dan. We got a retreat this weekend. Bear with me. I'm going to check the Telegram page. As long as I've got 5% battery left. Let me tell you all about it. Okay. Cheers, Dan. You're a star, man. Right, you're working for us. Okay. It's called, I don't know if you can see that. You were born free. For the love of life, you were born free. It's this weekend, 5th to the 7th of April, 2025. It's via donation, 3 days. We're starting in the UK. We're starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, going on till 9 o'clock at night. There'll be breaks in there, don't worry. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 4 o'clock, and Pacific S time, PST, 7 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. The meeting ID, I'm going to tell you now. I'm just going to read it out. It is 828 125 87543. That's 828 125 87543. The passcode is 383833. Passcode 383833. That's for Jen and I. So it's a 3-day online via donation retreat. Again, it will be recorded. So yeah, thank you everyone. Dan, thanks for that, dude. Sending you all so much love and gratitude for you all being here. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks, Dave. God bless, man. See you all soon.